From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 18th, 2024. U.S. President Joe Biden today announced sanctions against Iran after what he called its brazen attack against Israel on Saturday. Biden said, together with our allies and partners, the United States defended Israel. We helped defeat this attack. And today we are holding Iran accountable, imposing new sanctions and export controls on Iran. Those sanctions, the president said, target leaders and entities connected to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Iran's defense ministry, and the Iranian government's missile and drone program. Biden said our allies and partners have or will issue additional sanctions and measures to restrict Iran's destabilizing military programs. Let it be clear to all those who enable or support Iran's attacks, the United States is committed to Israel's security. We are committed to the security of our personnel and partners in the region, and we will not hesitate to take all necessary action to hold you accountable. Israel's Foreign Minister Yisrael Katz commended the president for the sanctions, and he wrote his ironclad commitment to Israel's security. Katz said, "This is our opportunity to form a global front and a regional coalition against Iran, together with the U.S., the EU, and moderate Arab states, to stop the serpent's head that threatens global stability. We must stop Iran now before it's too late." Meanwhile, the foreign minister of Iran, Hossein Amir Abdullahian, was at the United Nations headquarters in New York City today to address a UN Security Council meeting on a Palestinian request for full UN membership, a request the U.S. is expected to veto. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, said earlier that he will strongly criticize the Palestinian request and the Council's handling of this request, which, if granted, Erdan said would be a huge reward for terrorism. Erdogan also said, "I will address the shameful presence of the Iranian foreign minister, who he said is also a senior member of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps." Red alert sirens sounded in northern Israel today, warning of drone and rocket attacks. No damage or injury was reported. Yesterday, 18 Israelis were hurt in a drone attack from Lebanon from Iranian-backed terror group Hezbollah. The IDF said several launches of anti-tank missiles and UAVs crossed from Lebanese territory towards the Arab al-Aramsha region, with a direct hit reported on a community center in northern Israel where IDF soldiers were present, saying 6 soldiers were seriously injured, 2 moderately injured, and another 6 slightly injured. 4 civilians were also reportedly lightly hurt. The IDF said in response that it attacked the sources from which the launches were made and hit a military building where terrorists were staying. The Times of Israel said alert sirens were not activated in the incident yesterday to warn Israelis of the incoming fire, and the IDF was investigating why. Israeli troops also continue battling terror group Hamas in Gaza, eliminating terrorists and destroying terror infrastructure. Israel's Air Force said this week it took out a senior terrorist whom it said served as a security officer in the Hamas military intelligence unit in the Beit Hanun battalion, saying this elimination constitutes a significant damage to the investigation department of the organization. Rachel Goldberg Polin, the mother of American-Israeli hostage Hirsch Goldberg Polin, was listed among Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world, released yesterday. Time notes that she has become one of the most visible advocates for the hostages and their families. Goldberg Polin has met with dozens of world leaders, including President Biden. She has addressed the United Nations and had an audience with the Pope. Israel's official X Twitter platform said of the inclusion, "This isn't an honor Rachel would have ever wanted. Rachel has been a fierce lioness, advocating around the clock for the return of her son Hirsch and all of the hostages, who have now been held in Gaza for 195 days. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, April the 18th. At 7 o'clock, Cantor Joseph Malovany marks the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising anniversary, which is tomorrow, April the 19th. And then at 7:30, survivors and their families, activists, academics, and musicians gather at the Warsaw Ghetto Memorial Plaza in New York City. At 9, it's a look at the film Passover at the Wellmans, and then at 10:30, a replay of the news. And coming up next, Shahar Azani speaks with Dr. Eric Mandel about the challenges Israel is facing up north and more. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, April the 18th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.